Hello YouTube and welcome to GrunfWorks. This is episode 104 of the Interplanetary Voyage of Exploration. And in previous episodes we have gotten the Duna IP ship, connected successfully the Duna Orbital 1 station, and now it's time to start taking care of the rovers that are in the orbit around Duna left by interplanetary ship. So the idea is to actually take the rover, get it to the surface of Duna and find a suitable location where we would be setting up our future surface base, I guess. I still haven't started on designing because I want to first see the terrain, see the place where I want to, and the last place where Jeb landed wasn't too bad, so this is the site Alpha that I will be shooting for. And I'll probably just send one rover and then I'll look around. Then I will probably do something else, maybe design a little, and then a later stage I will send another rover to find a potential site Bravo. Blah, blah, blah. Sorry, my tongue got stuck. Okay, so executing the burn. What do we want to basically put our periapsis in the 20 or 17-ish range, which would basically get us aero captured in the orbit around Duna, and hopefully everything should be okay. Now, since we have the Duna orbital station, our time delay is low enough that we could actually use the remote tech to actually land even the rover on Duna. Otherwise, we would have been in some more serious issues because of the time delay. It would just be too great and we wouldn't be able to do anything. So that's basically the reasoning why I have decided not to do any roving or unmanned roving on Duna before we actually were able to get a command center in the orbit around Duna. So the whole purpose of the command center is to actually do the remote operations, and as soon as that is done, I will plan the transfer windows back. I will return most of the crew. There will be probably 2 members of the crew that will be left in the orbit. Probably, I'm not still sure. Maybe I will even set up more. I'm not sure. Because the station is supposed to be more or less self-sufficient apart from according to USI support, but then again I'm not entirely sure. So this is also a new area for me. I haven't played with it much, so I'm figuring stuff as I go. Anyway, speaking of which, we have inflated the airbags for the landing of our rover, and I will be deactivating the Communitron, but first I'm setting up an activation of the second Communitron antenna. The reasoning is that we do want to maintain as much connection, and last time when I went with the antenna it snapped, but this time I have dual antenna, so I'm willing to risk one antenna and see if it will snap, because it's not too high of a G's. We are already braking. Our parachutes have already deployed, so I am fairly optimistic in terms of that. And I have decoupled the bottom engines and the fuel tanks, so we are now only left with rover, which I'm just carefully aligning to make sure that we do land on our feet or wheels, whatever, or airbags. I made sure that the brakes on the wheels are on, and then I tried disabling the SAS, but obviously the rover wanted to go do the flippity flip, so I figured it would be best to keep the SAS on regardless of the electric charge being spent. So descending into the Duna's atmosphere, we are currently at 12,000 meters. We do have the mystery goo, which we will kick in because why not? And I will not send these partial experiments because what I'm hoping to get is, assuming that we get this guy to the correct placement, while I'm roving I may collect some, science, and when we get to the Duna base location site, when we get a manned mission of colonizing, Then I will pick up these experiments and hopefully get them back home to Kerbin. So yeah. My 6 Kerbals were required to actually start setting up the base. If all of them will be staying there, I'm not still sure. Maybe some of them will, maybe some of them won't, but that's why I have the option of having the SSTO or space or shuttle, which is the Voyager, whose purpose is to connect Duna Orbital 1 and the Kerbin Orbital Station. And how will I get people to Kerbin Orbital Station? That's still something to be investigated. I'll probably use either the SSTO or I'll use something else to get them aboard the station itself. Okay, now descending ever so slowly because I was overly cautious and deployed the parachutes way high up into the Duna's atmosphere, because during the testing phase I have left on default that the Duna's parachutes open at 2,600 meters, which meant that altitude over terrain was basically 300 when I was testing, and then my rover went to approximately 35 small pieces, of which it consisted, I think it's even more, don't quote me, maybe 45. Anyway, our altimeter going ever so slowly down. So, and the moment that we descend, we will probably try to find some good suited location for the Duna base, yeah. Okay. 1,200 meters. Oops, sorry. That's my chair. And 100 meters above terrain. Time to kill the time warp, and let's see if we land gently enough. 40 meters, and here we go. And touchdown. Awesome. Great stuff. Okay, withdrawn the actual tanks, and now I wanted to extend the second communitron because I had that queued. But now that being said, let's wait until next morning, which is here, and to be starting our adventure. First, surface hydrogen scan. Okay. Transmit the data. Mystery goo or laser surface scan. Transmit the data. So we get some more science, mystery goo from the surface, and I think we're good. Now we have the brakes on, and I'm trying to select the site of the Jab's landing. I mean, this does look nice, but still I'm kind of thinking what I want to do is I want to be researching for the carbonite, because it would be cool that our base site is somewhere near some carbonite resources. So I was thinking 5% cutoff, and that's only the ice caps, so I have to go a little bit less ambitious. So maybe we should go with, let's say, 2% cutoff. Okay, now we have something concrete to work with, and it's this area here that I'm thinking to put as a destination site, but still too far out. So let's put one here that has high concentration here, yeah, and then that one will called Carbonite Site Alpha. I don't like because it's not entirely equatorial, so this one I like more because it's actually way more equatorial than the previous one. So that's kind of what my reasoning when it comes to carbonite, because our Duna bases or orbital stations will be more or less situated in the equatorial region. So that's why I think it's good that we have equatorial base as well. It will make transfers whole of a lot simpler. So I'm just adding a couple of location for the waypoint, but I think some of them are so far out that I really don't want to venture going with the rover there. It will be a long drive, but today we will do some driving for sure. So there will be some driving to be done on the surface of Duna using this rover. After all, why else would we bother getting the rover there in the first place, right? Okay, so as you can see here, we have some biome, Duna lowlands, Duna highlands, so I'm just trying to find a good sweet spot, and I'm actually thinking that the place of the former base is actually an ideal sweet spot, which I have hit completely, guys, by accident. I was just looking for a place for Jeb to land, so I wasn't really planning all that stuff. I was thinking Jeb should land in the lowlands, that's it. But yeah. Okay, so intersections somewhere around these lines. I'm thinking I'll probably just mark the site of the Duna base as potential base site alpha or something like that. And then I will, potential base site alpha. And then I will basically go and set that as a destination for our roving excursion, and we will do some roving. The total distance is 29.1 kilometers over the Duna surface. Wow. It will definitely take some time to actually get there. So, please do note that at this stage, if it gets too tedious, feel free to fast forward onwards, because I fully intend to have driving over as shown, but I will probably show it at a couple of times acceleration. So I am extending my wheels to make my rover more stable, and now we are just finding the best suited location. So I'm just trying I'm wandering off a little bit because there it is. Started to going the wrong direction. What can you do? Anyway, this is our probe control room from which we are controlling this sucker. So just that you see how our engineers back at the orbital station are driving this, because it's not the boys in the KSC that are driving, but the guys in the orbital command center, because the time delay is 0.006, so meaning that we can definitely go. And by the way, guys, you are seeing all this in roughly 3-4 times acceleration. For me it was way more, and I had to do a lot of stops because of badly dimensioned rover, which required some recharging to do. So when driving, my consumption is bigger than my production, and that's a mistake that I basically made, so sorry about that. Okay, just trying to find a nice alignment. Cool, and we are 27 kilometers from our designated waypoint. Definitely we are closing there at roughly 9-10 meters per second, and it will be some while. So while we're driving, I just want to have a quick recap on the plan, which it is for my KSP content, which will be there. I will try to crank in several mod views, mod previews, mod spotlight. Duna, I believe Kerbin Engineering, I will maybe post something at a later stage. I'm not entirely sure. Last thing I did was a shuttle. After that I did a short, not video, but just a preview of how you could make a Baran. Or not how you could make it, how you can fly it. But I don't think that over summer there will be stuff going on in terms of engineering, but more mod spotlight, and definitely Interplanetary Voyage, which I fully intend to continue until the fall. And then at the fall, sometimes during the autumn, when I come back, I should be roughly mid-August, I plan to start having the KSP 1.1 content, because as I might have mentioned in one of the previous episodes, I am trying to design my own tech tree, which I think would be really cool, and I'll probably need community's help with balancing. So when I'm ready, I will probably make a thread and then see how it goes. But my backup option is, if it doesn't work, if I don't have enough time, I will use the engineering tech tree, which I actually already like, and it looks kind of fun. But I just figured I wanted to do something extra for the 1.1 series, which I will be playing most likely the normal, what do you say, normal Kerbal system, but with some additional planets, maybe even additional galaxy, I'm not sure. So if you have any mod suggestions, feel free to post them. I have my mod list more or less defined, but then again, if you post some excellent or good idea of mod, I will definitely think about it and maybe include it, because now I am working on the tech tree that is specific to the mod list that I'm playing with, and there will be a lot of mods therein. So like standard KW rocketry, B9 aerospace, tech life support, remote tech most likely. I was hoping to get in Kerbalism, but because it's pretty much exclusive rather than like either or when it comes to remote tech and life support and some others, I don't think it's a little more of, it has more life of its own, so I won't probably be using the Kerbalism anyway. But there are lots of good mods that I plan to include, and yeah, like, and then rockets, landers, shuttles. Yes, I plan in this playthrough to finally start using the space shuttle and maybe even a Buran, you never know. Also, I'm thinking probably I will use the different sites on Kerbin, using Kerbal constructs and Kerbin side to get some between the bases missions and stuff. So but feel free to post your comments, opinions, ideas in the comments below. I will for sure read them and try to take them into account when creating the 1.1 career playthrough, guys. Definitely adding some more contract pack, etc, etc. So I think that's while I'm driving, it's a good time to actually discuss those, because otherwise there's too much stuff going on. Yeah, so that's basically what my plan is. How long will the Interplanetary Voyage Series continue? I don't know. Will it stop when the 1.1 series starts? I don't know. Probably not, maybe. I have a lot of more stuff to do here because I haven't still done bases. We still haven't landed on Lathe, for example. We have just explored a little bit Dress and a little bit Moho, but nothing more than that. So I really want to, and not to mention, come on, Sarnus, Urlum, like Tecto. I would really like to get some point a ship to Tecto, and that will probably have to be a Kerbal ship, because I mean remote tech at those distances, I don't think I should even bother trying. But I have to figure out how to use advanced propulsion. So to really get to Tecto and Sarnus and all that, rather than using conventional drives, we should start investigating into something more exotic, like, I don't know, warp drives and something like that, because getting to those planets takes an incredible amount of time. As you can see, we have launched our first Sarnus probe. I think it was around episode 30-ish or 40-ish. We're still nowhere near that. So it takes like 2-3 years until you actually get to that point. So even if I start now, I would probably end up at Tecto with a manned mission. If I could enable the provisions, it would take until probably episode 200 and something, and I don't know if I will be running it for that much. Maybe. Never say never, right? Just a second, excuse me. Yeah, so that's kind of the plan. The reasoning why I want to eventually shut down the Interplanetary Voyage is because this is 090. The performance is somewhat bad. You don't see most of the things, guys, but yeah. I'm most of the time playing very, very slow. And I have recently tested the 1.1.3 with like a hefty bunch of mods, and I get a healthy frame rate of 50-60, which is way better than this guy in 090 ever was. So I am really looking forward to the 1.1.3 or whatever playthrough. Ooh, let's see how far are we. Pretty far still, but we soldier on and we just keep chugging along. So yeah, so that's the reasoning why I want it, and I even had an attempt to actually migrate all of these mods under the 1.1.3 to just continue this series, and so many stuff broke that eventually I realized it would take me probably like at least 1 or 2 months of hard work not cranking any content until I actually get this to work, and then I just figured, no, I'm just gonna give up and do new playthrough simply. So sorry about that, but I assure you I will try to make the new playthrough at least as good as this one, and hopefully even more awesome. Yeah. Okay, we are now, to get back a little bit to discussion, one of my batteries has died, sadly, which means that we can cross half of the distance between rechargings. And if you have been wondering why the rover is stopping, because my electric charge is spent and I have to recharge it. Duh. Well. So, but otherwise I really like the design of this rover, because increasing the base does increase its stability, which makes it for a very, very nice and solid platform, so that you can actually do stuff with it. So that's what I thought it was really cool, and what I think how it should be done. So yeah, simply put, that's kind of the way I would like to roll. So 7.5. Now there will be a lot more stops, and but hopefully we should get to that base, and within that area I will try to look for a good spot, and then I'll leave the rover there as basically a placeholder. Now when we are landing with a bunch of stuff from the orbit, I still have to practice a lot in terms of my re-entry and getting exactly to the spot that I want, but if you have some view, guys, how to easily do it, basically non-powered, I know of the trajectories mod, but the 0.90 version was killing my frame rate and my playthrough to the point of exhaustion. So sadly I couldn't do it. I mean, if I've played with the trajectories in this version, I would have given up way before the episode like 60, 70. So that's why I had to disable the mod and just try my luck. I mean, it does make things a bit more interesting. So yeah, because you get unpredictable results. Okay, we are 5 kilometers out, and time for another recharge. Well, at least we are now, we can see not see the light, see the end, but we can see now and whenever I let go of the controls, my rover just tends to go willy-nilly left or right somewhere else. So I really like roving and driving on the surface of Duna. It does make things really, really cool. So I don't mind driving a little bit longer distances. I haven't done it quite a while, and it's actually kind of fun. Driving, bumping, bouncing, and it's just a matter of better designing the rover, because in my opinion this one I have optimized. I didn't plan to go this vast distances with it, but then again when we landed a little bit further off site than I would have wanted it to, so that's basically what happened. With respect to I'll just briefly talk about my other series, naval action content. I have recorded since I came back a lot of content. I'll probably try to have at least somewhat within 10-ish episodes during the summer. There will be a description of Rattlesnake SX, and I even had my cousin visiting me, so we played a couple of matches together. You will be able to see it. I have recorded already the content, and yeah, I think it will be kind of fun. I really like what they did with the naval action. They added a lot of, land mass to the battle and rebalanced stuff. So, despite the service being a little bit more empty, well, what can you do? Regarding the XCOM, I continued and I started sucking badly at it once again. And in the meantime there were some DLCs that came, so I'm rethinking I might even restart again with some more soldiers, or I'll just try to continue until the bitter end. Depends how fun it will be. Okay, we are at the base site, we have seen the flag, and time to actually go to Minmus. So the idea behind the Minmus, I wanted to test our carbonite driller to see that it has successfully filled up with carbonite and that we can dock it to the Minmus orbital station. Now, in doing so, I have made one flaw, and that is that I didn't put the converter for the monoprop. So, my mistake there. I do have still some monoprop to do the docking, but I guess on the Duna one I believe I have put the monoprop converter. So, without further ado, let's just wait until Minmus orbital station gets in the correct position, get up, and let's go for docking and refuel the Minmus orbital station with the liquid fuel and oxidizer at least. And we still do have some carbonite there, so yeah. Okay. Tweaking the orbital parameters to make sure that we do secure an encounter with the Duna orbital 1. Going up. Okay. We are coming close to our burn, so let's do the circularization burn. Perfect. Then we have to tweak our inclination to make sure that we are on the same plane. And let's see if we can tweak so we get an encounter. Yes, we can, because, I mean, it's not big burns, it's Minmus, guys, after all. I mean, Minmus is really, really tiny when it comes to amount of burning required, so I'm thinking I'll probably gonna stick around somewhere there. Oh boy. Come on. A little further, a little back, and okay. I think that's good enough. We have the burn, 33 meters per second. As you can see, it's really minuscule compared to what we have in the tank, so I'm not gonna even bother about thinking what to do, where to go, so let's just quickly execute that burn, and then we will be performing the docking, hopefully. Okay. Tweaking a little bit. 0.5 meters per second. That's a really tiny burn. Let's see if we can pull it off. A little bit, come on. Okay, I think that's good enough. The rest we will tweak once we get there. So I just put the maneuver node, and let's do loop-the-loop around Minmus, and then we will be rendezvousing with the Minmus orbital station. I think Minmus is an ideal testing ground for my Duna interplanetary missions, because apart from the landing itself, but for the base components and stuff, I'm thinking I'll probably want to do some testing around that as well. Okay. We are going 30 meters per second relative to the target, and I want to burn to get our trajectories to intersect, which is roughly here. This should hopefully secure us a much better encounter, and we are already, whoa, 300 meters out. Awesome. Now this was easy. Let's retract the solar panels. We do have enough of electric charge, I'm just keeping one out. And let's do the docking dance. Aligning ever so carefully. 200 meters out. Let us select the docking port where we want to dock, and I'm thinking that I want to dock on the orange tank above the orbital labs, because I think that's the correct place where you should be docking if you're transferring fuel. Below are just labs and habitats and stuff, so that's why I want to do this. Okay. Aligning ever so carefully. Okay, like that. Good. Turning a little bit, and time to engage the RCS, and now it's the moment of truth if we'll have enough RCS to actually do the docking. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do like that because my side thrusters, I don't want them to basically bump into the experiments modules. That would just not be right. So going up. Oh, and I believe I should be going a little bit more to the side. We don't want to get stuck and, yeah, catch the experiments module as we go along. And, ooh, oops. Okay, this was clearly not meant to happen. I've even angled the station a little bit. Well, I'll just have to correct it at some point later, hopefully, if I will be able to. Come on. Closing the final solar panel. Getting ready to dock, and awesome. Guys, I think I'm gonna cut it here. Like if you liked the episode, hit subscribe for more KSP content that will be coming soon. And until the next episode, thank you very much guys for watching. This is GrunfWorks signing off.